Hi everyone, my name is Carson. This is HMN's History Mystery Mondays. I hope you have checked us out before. If not, thank you for clicking on this video. And thank you if you are returning. Thank you for just clicking on this video in general if you have. I appreciate that. So today we are continuing the story of the Stonewall and riots that happened in 1969 in Greenwich Village, New York. And yeah, so we're gonna get into that today. We're gonna finish. I split it up in two parts, so if you haven't seen the first part, please go watch the first part and then come back and watch this so you get the full of what happened the first night, which is in the last video, and then now we're talking about the remainder of the nights of the riots and basically all the way up until today. So yeah, so if you're interested in hearing about that, go watch the first video if you haven't. Continue watching this one. If you haven't checked out my channel for anything else, I post every Monday. Go check that out. Yeah, if you like this makeup too, by the way, I have another channel just specifically makeup because not everybody loves makeup, so that's why I made a separate channel for that, but go check that out. It's down below. And yeah, so let's get into the video. Okay, so where we left off, that the police cleared the street. It was basically 4 a.m. and it was the street of Christopher Street where the inn and the riots were happening, and the police cleared it by 4 a.m. But there was electricity in the air from the night's events. So 13 people were arrested that night. Some of the crowd were hospitalized, including 4 officers were injured. Detective Pine, that we talked about, he intended to take down the inn and everything that was in it that night. The next night, rioting again started all over and all around Christopher Street and the surrounding bars and area. Thousands of people gathered in front of Stonewall, some from the night before, and any of the homeless youth population, the queens, the drag queens, curious bystanders, and even tourists of the time were gathering around in the crowd. The inn opened again that night and the crowd was so large it spilled into the neighboring blocks. Marsha P. Johnson, like we talked about in the last video, she was seen climbing a lamppost even and ended up dropping a heavy garbage bag of something on top of a cop car, and it shattered the windshield of the car. Fires were started in trash cans, this time actually by the crowd throughout the neighborhood. There were hundreds of cops from the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 9th precincts of New York NYPD. But before 2 a.m., the TPF, the Tactical Patrol Force that we were talking about in the last video, who had the riot shields and were pushing and clubbing people, they showed up again by 2 a.m. Kick lines, of course, started again and were singing songs and just having a bunch of fun. And they were playing a cat and mouse game with the police all through the night. People were running down the streets, but the battle ensued until 4 a.m. again, like the night before. Days later, Greenwich Village had a few altercations with cops and residents, but not much happened due to rain those days. More than 5,000 leaflets were passed out at this point, and it read, "Get the mafia and the cops out of the gay bars." It called for the community to be able to run their own establishments and boycott the other bars that were run by the mafia, instead of just only Stonewall being the one to get new management. They wanted all of the clubs, the bars, everything in Greenwich Village to be gay owned, like it should have been. not mafia owned. Not everyone considered the past nights as a positive development towards the movement because they were trying to keep it peaceful. They don't want it to ensue in violence. Obviously, you want to make a peaceful, positive movement, but yet in certain situations things do get violent and you can't really help it at that. Randy Wicker, he was one of the people who marched at the first gay picket line in front of the White House in 1965, saying "Scream Queens," forming chorus lines and kicking went against everything that I wanted people to think of homosexuals. That we were a bunch of drag queens in the village acting disorderly, tacky, and cheap. The others called Stonewall a sleazy joint when it was closed. Since these events took place in Greenwich Village, it spread to picket lines happening in New York to Philly from what they heard happening in Greenwich Village. And during the marches, it needed to be shown who people were that were part of the community. Even same-sex couples even were marching and holding hands like they should have been. This brought the Gay Liberation Front, Gay Activists Alliance, Gay Pride, so many marches as well. And walks were put on, and so many things that we know today as the push for equality and love is love and everything like that. This was the push for Obergefell versus Hodges for the equality of same-sex marriage finally to happen, and the fact that June is a whole entire month for Pride and Pride celebration with parades and everything, and just it's so cool. February 2000, Stonewall Inn was named a National Historical Landmark. 49 years later, in 2018, Stonewall Day was announced as a commemorative holiday. On June 24th of 2016, President Obama announced that Stonewall National Monument Site was to be established by the National Park Service, but also it still remains as a privately owned residence. And that is the story of the Stonewall riots and what we know as the gay liberation movement, and the fact that we are at what we're at now. It's also a somber part to talk about as well, because of the fact that we have seen Roe v. Wade getting overturned and the talk of same-sex marriage getting overturned as well, with birth control and everything like that. And it's sad that now we're going to basically have to somewhat revert back to this time if they continue down this path. I'm with you guys if that ever is to the point that happens, because I know everybody's together in the same thoughts as what is happening with Roe v. Wade being overturned. And yeah, so I hope nothing comes of it, because y'all, the community has fought long and hard just for the moment of Obergefell versus Hodges being won and that happening. And so I'm gonna just talk about something real quick. If you identify as asexual, pansexual, bisexual, gay, straight, lesbian, whatever it might be, if you go as they, them, he, she, even it, whatever you decide to come as long as you are happy in your own life, you're happy with yourself, you're confident with yourself, even if people out there don't love you for the way you are, there is a whole community of people that love you exactly the way you are. And I am a part of that community as an ally, even though I identify as she, her, and straight, I'm still an ally. Most of my friends are a part of the community. Literally, I only have like a couple straight friends, and most of my friends are a part of the community. And I've been through it with them, of them coming out. And if you or anybody you know has not come out yet, or if you have come out yet and you're still dealing with the struggles of people not loving you, even your family, just know I'm here for you. I love you. Love is love, mama. I love you as much as I can, as much as humanly possible, basically. And because it's the same sentiment as if I'm happy with my partner, I want you to be happy with a partner too, and you deserve that. And if you're watching this during Pride Month, I love you. Love is love. Everything like that. You deserve the world. You deserved every opportunity you should get. Same as everybody else. You shouldn't have a threshold and a barricade to fucking have to break through. And saying this as a woman, I have a lot of barriers I have to fucking break through, even just being a woman. I can't imagine the barriers y'all have to break through, even though I've seen them. I've helped y'all. I will march with you if necessary, because I love you. So I love you guys. I hope you guys are having a great morning, evening, day, just in general. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I love you so, so much.